All right now. All right now. I don't even know where to start. But, voice all ashy. I just woke up. Sorry. But, as soon as I wake up, good morning, Grand Rising. As soon as I wake up, I see on YouTube, there's a doctor talking about Alzheimer's. And anybody who's been to my class, or you don't even have to be, you may not have even gone to my class. Maybe you have been following me for like 5 years now. And you know that I talk about Alzheimer's and HSV. And that I say that all the people with Alzheimer's also have HSV. Your grandma got HSV. Your grandpa got HSV. Everybody who has dementia and borderline Alzheimer's have HSV. One in particular. And now there's a doctor that is proving this. And I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to show it to you. Because not only does he prove what I'm saying is right, he also talks about the fact that you need a ketogenic diet. And you need to reduce and remove the sugar and the carbs. And that's what's doing this. He also says that it takes at least 20 years for the Alzheimer's to, I guess for it to turn into Alzheimer's, for enough damage to take place for it to even be considered Alzheimer's. So that's why we do have younger people who have Alzheimer's around maybe 50 or so, maybe 40 or so, and they're experiencing symptoms and signs of Alzheimer's. How long have they had HSV? How long have they had HSV1 in particular? So I'm going to play it for you right now. I'm not even going to hold you up. All right. So, doctor on YouTube says Tara is right. Okay. So, he is Dr. Eric Berg of DC. Okay. And this is titled Groundbreaking New Revelations on Alzheimer's Disease, which Tara been saying for a long time now. I've been out since 2016. I've been saying this since about 2018 or so. I don't know. It's on YouTube. Okay, let's press play. Wait, let me turn this volume up so y'all can hear.
Amyloid plaquing. I've talked about some falsified research relating to amyloid plaquing. I've talked about the genetic factor of getting Alzheimer's or putting you at risk by 30 to 50%. If you have a very specific, it's called an ApoE4. If you have that mutation, you're 30 to 50% more at risk, right? I've done all these videos as I find more information, but I stumbled on something that is groundbreaking. It's actually quite amazing, and you have to hear about it. The more you understand the true mechanism of a problem, the more a solution will pop out. If you were to take a match and you're in the woods and you would light the match and start the woods on fire, would it help to focus all your energy on putting out that match? The answer is no. You know, as a child, I loved to play with matches. Unfortunately, it got me into trouble. I remember one time when I was really small, actually this was last year. No, I was 8 years old, and a friend and I were playing with matches, and I found some matches, and we went in the back of the field, and I wanted to see what would happen if I lit a match into this empty bird nest that was just sitting there. There's no birds in it. I just want to see what would happen. So I light it on fire, and my friend says, put it out. I said, no, let it go a little bit longer. Well, within a matter of seconds, it just starts spreading like crazy. We bolted to the back of the neighborhood, to someone's house to get water, and then we turn around, and the entire field is on fire, okay? And so I had to run home and tell my father that I lit the field on fire, and as he looked across, you can see the neighborhood with these flames behind the entire neighborhood that's spreading to the next neighborhood, and you can imagine how much trouble I got into and how I felt. But just my luck, it started raining. I seemed to luck out. It started raining and it put the fire out, but that was a scare. I don't know why I told you the story, but it does relate to the match forest concept. Well, that's what research has been doing the last 20 years, focusing on the match, okay, with very, very little results, if any. In fact, sometimes the treatment for Alzheimer's is worse.
Okay, let me pause that right there. Because that's modern medicine. That is modern medicine in a nutshell. That's why I let that play, because I could have skipped that, but that story was important because that's modern medicine. They don't focus on the right thing. And when we talked about the story of the Tamahu and their development, that's why I talked about the Tamahu and their development, because that's important. We have to understand the mindset of who we dealing with in order to understand or free ourselves from the bondage of the stupidity. We are warped in their stupidity, and they need us. They need us, people like us, like Meaningful Holistic and any other healers and people, practitioners or medicine men, shaman, channelers, people like us. They take our information and they try to destroy the person who they get the information from, destroy the village where they took the herb from, and then they build it into their pharmaceuticals and take over. Okay? But they don't even understand how the stuff work. They're sitting there looking at the match and not even paying attention to the fire. They treat symptoms, and treating the symptoms only make what you're dealing with worse. So you going to the doctor for your inflammation, they giving you something for inflammation and not even taking into consideration why is it inflamed. The inflammation is cushioning the problem. Like if you break your arm, okay, you break your arm. So let's say I broke my arm right here. A big ball is going to form right around that break to cushion. That's the inflammation, to cushion the break. So let's say I go to the doctor and I say, give me something for this inflammation, so to make just the inflammation go away. And they're like, oh, I see you have a big swollen inflammation ball on your arm. And they're not even thinking, oh, let me see if it's broken. Okay, what's broken? So they give me something for the inflammation. Now my arm flopping around, bone all sticking out. That's what modern medicine does. But, oh, are you sure, sis? Are you sure? My doctor says this and another. Well, then go see your doctor and then come back and tell me how that went after some time. Okay, so let's press play on this. Let's press play, because this doctor proves my point about herpes and Alzheimer's.
And so most of the research has been focusing on this theory that this amyloid plaquing is this metabolic junk that shouldn't be there. It has no purpose. We should just target it and get rid of it. Well, it is true that there's amyloid plaquing involved in Alzheimer's, right? But amyloid plaquing would be equivalent to that match that starts to fire. Trying to wipe out the amyloid plaquing is going to be a waste of your time. The gene that makes this amyloid plaquing, which is kind of this fibrous tissue in the brain that ends up destroying the neurons in the brain, has been around for a very, very long time, like 400 million years, because this gene is also in other species. So why has it been unchanged in the genetics for this long? Unless there was a very important purpose.
Oh, and so then I said, you know what? It says that this gene, he says that this gene is present in some other animals. And you know I'm doing my research on the Tamahu. So I had to go and see what other animals have this gene. And it's some animals that are speculated to have been used in the creation of the Tamahu. Let me see if it's in this phone. Damn, it's in the other phone. It's in the phone that I'm talking to y'all on. But I'm going to post it in my community, the animals, okay?
Of this plaquing. Well, incidentally, two researchers, which I'm going to put down below, stumbled on something that is just quite amazing. They found out that this beta-plaquing is a very potent antimicrobial peptide, 100 times more potent than penicillin. Well, let me first give you some background. There's two parts of the immune system. You have the innate immune system that you're born with. It's the ancient first line of defense immune system. Okay, part of your
ancient first line of defense immune system, the IgM. Okay, the IgM.
And then you acquire this other immune system. It's called the acquired immune system. And that's when you have all the antibodies,
IgG,
the T cells and the B cells and all these other things. And that usually is delayed. It takes time for your body to develop that.
In my masterclass and in my class, I tell y'all that it takes time for your IgGs to build up. So when y'all see people online showing y'all results from people who got rid of herpes and they're showing y'all somebody's negative IgM test, that's bullshit. They got people on there that's Kasabi people who's posting IgM negative results. Okay, so let me press play. That is your innate. That's the ancient immune system. That's your body's first line of defense. And then it takes your body some time to build up IgG. So you have to look for the IgGs, not the IgMs, to go negative.
Okay, but in the brain, there is only the innate immune system. We don't have this other immune system in the brain because It might, maybe because it's just too powerful. It can create a lot of collateral damage, and the brain is very sensitive. So this is what they found. They found that this amyloid plaquing is really an innate immune system reaction to a microbe that seeds or triggers this reaction.
Microbe.
And so there's always this cascade between amyloid plaquing and this other thing called neurofibrillary tangles. Okay, so that's a mouthful. That basically, if you look at that like fishing line, the plaquing and these tangles work together to entrap and contain pathogens. And so when they grab these microbes, right, let's say virus, they start to release certain chemicals. And one is bleach. Yeah, bleach. And so that just kills the microbe instantly. Bam. Envision like this ball of fishing line that just gets all fused and just gets all tangled around this pathogen. And so if you were to look inside this plaquing,
He's calling it bleach. He's calling it bleach, but I'm sure it has a chemical name. And he does not want to say what that chemical name is. But remember when Trump was telling people, he was being funny, he was saying just drink bleach or something like that, or shoot yourself up with bleach? Who knows the name of that substance? Because anytime anyone said it on like YouTube or such, they would try to ban them or something like that. Does anyone who's in the naturopathic world know the name of that stuff that he was talking about? I think it started with an M or something. I don't think it's like Montalone. I think it was something else. If you know it, put it in the put it down there. But that's what he's talking about,
right? If there's anything remaining, and then because we have this reaction, okay, we get inflammation in the nerves. It's called neuroinflammation, and so now we have all this collateral damage that's occurring. Okay, and then we basically it's all reacting to dead nerve cells. Okay, so we have this whole cascade thing that's happening. Alzheimer's is an innate immune reaction to an infection. Now, usually that infection is not necessarily a full-blown infection. It's usually a subclinical infection that tends to brew in the oven. This is why plaquing usually develops over 20 years. And by the time you have the first symptom, you're at the peak of plaquing, okay? And then it kind of goes down from there. And so the question is, like, what seeds this whole thing? What is the triggers? Well, there are several really key pathogens that are associated with Alzheimer's. You have the herpes simplex virus, okay? That's been known to trigger Alzheimer's. You also have spirochetes.
Hold on. Herpes simplex virus. That about 90% of the population has HSV1. That's the common one that you get that at daycare. You get that from somebody giving you a kiss as a baby. Okay, that's the one that people don't know they have because they never had an outbreak. Maybe they got a cold. There's people who say, I know somebody, come on somebody, who gets fever blisters and cold sores, and told me about this story about how she was cursed and had this terrible cold sore because she was talking mess about somebody. And at the same time, she does not consider herself to have herpes at all. And you better not tell her she got herpes. Baby, that's HSV1. Any and all cold sores, fever blisters, all that is HSV1. It's all HSV1. If you got a fever blister or you got a cold sore, honey, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's HSV1, and that's the one that leads to Alzheimer's, okay, and dementia. That's the one that this man is talking about. Now, he's about to name some other infections, some other pathogens that can lead to HSV1, but we're going to just think about how common is that to happen for somebody to get those other diseases versus how common it is for somebody to have HSV1.
Disease. You have something else called chlamydophilia pneumonia, which is a microbe involved in pneumonia, and there's several others. And as far as someone having this gene susceptibility to Alzheimer's, that's that ApoE4, which has a risk between 30 and 50% of getting Alzheimer's. Apparently, if you have that gene, you're more susceptible to allowing the herpes virus to cross the blood-brain barrier into the brain.
Who told you that herpes crosses the barrier? Who told you that? Because I know I just said that. I just said that just a few days ago, that it crosses the barrier. And I say it every week in my class on Wednesdays. It crosses the barrier.
And so then this got me thinking, isn't there a microbiome in the brain? And apparently there's been this long-standing thought that, no, it's all sterile. Just like the blood was sterile, until they found out, no, it's filled with microbes. Well, the brain does have a microbe.
See all the stuff they got to figure out along the way that we know already? And the thing is, I'm not a doctor. I pray and then I research. This is channeled information. And then God brings me the information. I didn't ask for this. This just popped up on my feed because this is what I'm in alignment with. For this information to be fed to me. To feed this stuff to me so that I could come and bring it to y'all and show y'all this shit real. It is real. It is real. No matter what anybody wants to say about it. This is real. This is really happening. Okay? Then people who are showing y'all those results, those are their results. And if anything comes back from those people, they best believe they're going to let me know. They're going to let me know. And then I will let you know as well. And that's the stories that I tell y'all about. If somebody asks me about this, that, and the other, okay, yeah, this person, this is their experience. That was that person's experience. And then, how about the kids who have HSV1? The thing is, you got to go and you have to pay attention to your diet, which he's going to talk about. He's going to get into the diet. And don't worry about trying to get rid of it with your kids. Don't do that. You have to let people mature and take care of their stuff because it's not an easy feat to do. It's a mental experience also. So don't worry about trying to get it out of your kids. All you have to do is just worry about the right diet. Okay, and he's going to talk about a remission diet because they're not allowed to say anything about getting rid of it. And I don't know if maybe I might have to transition my stuff to saying remission diet because of all of the red tape that's coming up with the S4090. And then they also they have something else that they're doing too that I'm going to have to do a live about because it's a lot of information and I don't see nobody talking about it online. I only see the one guy saying about it, a ban. And that's not even accurate information. I don't know if he actually read the full write-up about it, but I read the full thing and it's not a ban. It ain't no ban. You just have to go and put your ingredients on your bottles and you have to put the side effects on it, but now they have something new that they're trying to do. And it's the other thing. They're not going to fact check what you claim, okay? What you put on your bottle, they're not going to go and say, okay, let me fact check that. That's what they were talking about with the S4090 when I read it in full. They were not going to enforce it as far as going to make sure that each company looking at their labels and making sure. They were not going to do that. But now they have this new thing that they're doing. And what they're going to do is you have to do case study. For anything that you make a claim on, you will have to do case study. And case study is very, very expensive. So if somebody comes up and says anything bad happened with you, with your product and them, then that's what's going to raise the red flag. And that's going to give them to go ahead and go and look into your company. Okay. But we'll talk about that later. Let's finish letting this doctor prove me right. Okay. Because that's what we came here for this morning.
Microbiome. That's right.
Okay. Microbiome.
Standing thought that, no, it's all sterile. Just like the blood was sterile until they found out, no, it's filled with microbes. Well, the brain does have a microbiome. That's right. And it's there probably to help protect you. Okay. And there's a huge relationship between Alzheimer's and an altered microbiome in your gut. But people don't talk about the brain. And there's just not a lot of research with this microbiome. What can we do about it, right? Well, the most important thing is to do whatever you can to prevent it. There's some other things that are involved in this as well. Okay. Having a strong immune system, having a strong, diversified microbiome, and also doing whatever you can to fix insulin resistance, which also makes you very, very susceptible. I mean, over 50% of the population has insulin resistance, and that alone adds to the fire, the inflammation in the brain. Not being on the ketogenic diet, being on too many carbs adds more inflammation to the brain. You want to run your body on ketones that bypasses the whole thing. And so I think if you get it in time, you can turn things around really nice. Once you have it, it's just more difficult. I think you can improve it. It all depends on how much damage that's there. And the other thing is, if you have this genetic weakness, this ApoE...
Tara knows how to improve it, okay? Just to throw that out there, I know how to improve it, okay? I have been doing it for years.
You should definitely not be drinking alcohol, being exposed to smoking. Okay, you should be exercising, which will help the genes. You should be doing keto. You should be eating extremely healthy things with antioxidants. So some other things to think about. Since 95% of the population has herpes simplex 1.
95, he said.
is to keep that darn virus in remission as much as you can, right? Do what you can to keep your body healthy.
Okay, let's talk about remission. Remission means not having outbreaks, okay? That's what remission means, not having outbreaks. Okay, now what if some of these doctors say that processes like mine is just putting it into remission, okay? Getting you down to the point where you don't have any antibodies being developed for it because you don't have any viral activity going on in your body. You don't have any outbreaks that's happening. You are not transmissible to anyone. You don't have any itchy skin. You don't have no more back pain that goes away in the process. You don't have anything going on in your body in relationship to HSV and keeping it there. Now, I cannot say the word CURE because I'm not a doctor. So I'm not allowed to use that, and because I have a registered business, I'm not allowed to use that. All I can say is that people do my detox. They test negative, and they stay there. They go back to their regular diet, and they stay there, okay? They stay there. So if a doctor wants to say that what my process is doing is putting it into remission, if it's doing that, it's keeping it there. Not only is it putting it there, it's keeping it there. Now, I'm going to let him finish up on what he's saying because he got about a minute left in what he's saying. But he basically proves my entire theory right. Okay? Now, this is the thing. He says a keto diet. You can't just go do any keto diet and then he can't even exactly say what keto diet it is that you really need to do, because then that kind of puts him into some... It crosses the border. It crosses some lines. Okay, you got to do your research on what your title is and what you are actually allowed to say. Okay, that's why I try to stay right within my little guidelines. Okay, and I don't be going out saying all kind of stuff like other people do. But keto diet. But you need to make sure if you got HSV1 on that picture that he showed with the keto diet, he had some almonds on there and stuff. You can't eat any almonds if you have HSV because that is extremely high in arginine. So they do have to mix in some little stuff to kind of like, okay, well, we telling them what's going on, but we can't tell them 100% of what's going on. So we're going to leave them some breadcrumbs. So that's when you have to use your discernment inside of you. You have to use your heart also to decipher and say, okay, he says ketogenic diet. He may not mean, I know that with herpes, you can't just eat anything. Even though I really, really would love for somebody to tell me it's okay to eat some almonds because it's my favorite thing to eat. So I would love to find somebody that could tell me that I can eat that. So if you're going around looking for somebody to just give you what you want and without any... Because there's people that do that. They're like, well, I can't see myself, not eating such and such. So they look for a process that allows them to do what it is that they should not do. And when they find that process and they go through it, they waste a lot of time, they waste their efforts, and things actually end up getting worse. Like this man was saying here. Dr. Berg was saying that their efforts on trying to help people with Alzheimer's actually can make it worse because they're just focused on trying to get rid of analog plaque. When you shouldn't be trying to just get rid of analog plaque. The analog plaque is there to trap the infection. It's there to trap the infection and to dismantle it as best that it can. And the more analog plaque you got there is more evidence that you have HSV. There are one of these are Lyme disease, which that stuff is not very common. So we're talking about HSV1 because 95%, he says 95% of the population has it. Okay? So that means a lot of people have it. No one is really saying anything about it. No one needs to be embarrassed about it because 95% of everybody got it. So if you're in a room with 10 people, 10 of y'all in that room, and somebody's being embarrassed because they got some pimples on their face and they think it might be from HSV1, you don't need to worry about it because they got 8 other people. They got 8.5 other people in the room who have it too. Okay? All right? That's just math. Hey, Cookie, how you doing? So let me let him finish telling this because he's going to talk. He got a little bit more advice on what to do.
Because I've noticed people that get head injuries and go through major losses and stresses and then develop Alzheimer's, right? I think it kind of just activates what's already there. The herpes virus that kind of comes out of remission and then just makes things worse. So we have some key factors to look at. We have the epigenetic things you can do right now. Okay, and I have a lot of data on this. Getting enough sleep, the exercise, keeping your stress low, eating extremely healthy, avoiding chemicals that can trigger this. If you keep your stress really low and keep your resistance high with your immune system, you can keep these viruses in remission. I think that's really the key. But there's also one more thing. If you also practice fasting. Anyone who has Alzheimer's must be doing intermittent fasting, 1 meal a day, not 2 meals, but 1 meal a day. Why? Because you need a good amount of fasting.
Now, I wanted to play that part.
Into an autophagy situation. Autophagy is where your body is cleaning house. It's cleaning up old dead proteins. It's also strengthening your immune system. It's also bringing your inflammation down in your brain. It's also going to help increase your resistance to pathogens. And on that note,
okay. All right. So let me pause it right there, because y'all know that I say not too fast on my detox because it's not necessary, because the greens are actually doing all of that he's saying. Greens are known to reduce the inflammation and all of that. So you don't have to fast on my detox, but naturally, a lot of people who get on it, they only eat a couple times a day. And I'm always like encouraging them to eat more, because then they start feeling weak. But this is the fast. This is the fast that has all of the ingredients that you need, because what he's giving you is generalized information. The layman cannot take general information. And what I mean by layman is the person who is unknowledgeable in this area, who's like, oh, that just jumped on here and don't know what's going on. But they're like, oh my God, let me just get that video. No, you don't just need that video. You need to watch this video, this live right here from the beginning, while I'm explaining to you this video. That's what you need. That's what you need. I also tell you the name of the video in there, but you don't need to just jump on off of here and just go straight to the video. You ain't going to understand it. It's going to go right over your head. And you're going to be like, okay, I need to go diet and exercise. I need to get on a ketogenic. And what else did he say about my gut microbiome? So go watch the beginning of this video and let it play through while I explain to you how this doctor proves my theory correct. Because he's giving you the general information. He gives you exact information that proves my theory right, and then he gives you general information about the type of diet and lifestyle that you need to live, which is my diet and lifestyle. It's my diet and lifestyle that is perfect for what this man here, that so many of you guys know, but I don't know, because I don't go and do a lot of research on other people's stuff. I like to pray about it, and I work with the problems of that the people who come to me have, so that I'm not trying to I'll overreach my boundaries and try to do things that maybe God has not put on me to do. So I only deal with the problems that people come to me about. Okay? So yes, oh wow, I would love to talk. We were supposed to talk a long time ago. And the way that we can really beat this stuff that is going on, the way that we can beat this, it ain't no ban. This S4090 and these clinical trials that we're going to have to start doing, that's extremely expensive to prove all of this stuff about what we're saying about our products and everything. A lot of people are going to have to band together. They're going to have to band together. But the thing is, we are a culture of people that do not band together anymore. We do not. I don't even want to say anymore, because at one point the whole world was black. So it's like, I don't know, if you're that population of black people, don't mess with that. It's just, it could be like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it is always busy. But banding together, and I mean, I had this idea of, I don't want to put it out there, so I'm going to just keep it to myself, because I don't know who's watching. So anyways, banding together is the way that people can actually overcome the things that they're trying, the restrictions and all that stuff that they're trying to put on us. Trying to do it individually by yourself, a lot of people may end up having to go out of business because they don't even know the right language to use when they're talking about their healing business. They're saying a lot of reckless things that can just easily get them just shut down. And they're wondering, oh, they're shadow banning me and stuff. No, you on here talking reckless. You don't have to say all that here. Go start you a community, and then you can talk all the shit you want inside your community and just have people join your community for free or whatever. And then you can say everything you got to say there without worrying about somebody taking down your Instagram page. I don't have to worry about somebody really taking down my Instagram unless somebody went on a campaign to get a bunch of people to report me for some reason. But I stay pretty neutral on here. But yes, the power of partnership is what is going to push past. It's going to overcome this, because they need our information. And obviously they might feel like they have enough information on herbs at this point, and they got enough white people who know about herbs at this point where they don't need us anymore. That might be how they feel, and that might be why they're imposing all of these new regulations and such. Maybe they feel like they learned enough. But you ain't learned enough yet. It's deeper than that. It's so deep. They might feel like, oh, because they know how to clone and stuff now, that, you know, they don't need us healers to reverse engineer. They don't need to reverse engineer our methods and steal our recipes anymore because they feel like they got it all. But guess what? This is a process right here that don't even involve any herbs. On my detox, it doesn't even involve any herbs at all, unless you call them parsley and cilantro herbs, which they are herbs, but that's about the most you're gonna get right there. And it's all dark leafy greens. We're eating all dark leafy greens. So, I mean, the whole thing that they're doing doesn't really affect me that much. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why the S4090 and those bans and stuff, those regulations don't really affect me very much. Okay? Because I actually went through it over a year ago. It was like October, November 2021. They shut down my web store for selling pseudoceuticals, because I was saying that my vinegar paste, you can put it on warts and things like that. So they shut down. It wasn't like the government shut it down. It was the payment processor. Stripe decided they were not going to allow anyone to take payments on my website anymore. They weren't going to process any more payments. So I had to change my website and make everything look like it was skincare and beauty care and stuff like that, which in reality it is. But you just put some of this stuff on some bobos that you got, okay, and other things. But so I was able to beat it, and it took me a year, over 2022, to get people on board and get people understanding, okay, this is what this is for, and also figuring out what other web pages, what other things I can do to get my message out. So I started communities and things like that. I started teaching classes on webinars and stuff so that I can talk uncensored. And it's working. So if y'all need to do that, that might be something that you need to do. I sell a tea. I don't put down any claims on my tea at all. It just says, I think it just says tea on the box. I think it just says tea and my business's name. But it says nothing else on there. You would not know at all what it does unless you came to my class or you were here on my live and you asked me about it. That's the only way. That's protection. That's protection right there, because now I'm not making no claims about it. You would have to come to my class so that you can learn about, you know, what's in it and what it does and that kind of stuff. Okay. Another thing that I do, I don't use the CURE word, because you cannot do that. That is one of the quickest ways to get you in trouble. Okay. The state comes after you, actually. The state comes after you for practicing medicine. So I do not do that at all. And when people send me a DM saying things like that, it's usually from a fake page with no picture, no nothing on it. I don't know who it is. Usually I just delete the message and I don't even respond to it. And then sometimes the person will write me back from their real page, oh, you fake, you don't even answer messages and stuff. I'm like, did you send me some bullshit from a fake page? Like I'm stupid, like I'm gonna just be answering this BS. I don't know who you are. So no, I will not be saying that to you. You're strangers. So let's go. So, all right. The next thing that I did to really protect myself from everything that's going on is that I'm very careful with my language. But also disclaimers. You have to put disclaimers down. I am not a doctor or a scientist. This is for information and educational purposes only. That stuff got to be on your website. It's got to be anywhere where you're talking about this. Anytime you start opening up and talking to people about stuff, you got to say that. You have to have your disclaimers on your sites and everything. That's important. Okay. And what else I was going to say? There was one more thing, and I'm about to jump off this because I'm hungry. It's the beginning of the day, and I wasn't expecting to jump on YouTube and find a doctor proving me right and everything that I say right. So y'all need to go watch this from the beginning, because this man proves everything that I had to say right. He just proved it all right. He proved it right. But it's time for you guys to start protecting yourselves, and anyone on here who is a healer, it's time for you to start protecting yourself and figuring out how to not make claims, how to get your point across without making claims. And you're going to have to take your message offline, like not offline, but off social media and into your own private group, your own private community. And that is the only way that you will be able to speak more candidly about what you do and what your stuff is about. Okay, that's pretty much how you're gonna have to do that there. So I can't remember what else I was going to say. So I'm out of here. I'm excited about this. Go watch this from the beginning. I'm going to try to post this live on YouTube, but I don't even know if YouTube's going to accept it because this is this man's YouTube video. And I don't know if they're going to do like a copyright or something like that. I'm not going to monetize this my video when I post it because this is this man's information. I'm sure that he has his monetized, but he proves my point here. So you guys, I'm passing the ball to you now. Okay, I'm passing it to you now. It's your turn for you to do what you think is right. Go and do whatever research it is that you know that you need to go and do. If you need to go, and everything that from my protocol is researchable. Okay. Oh, you said it's 1 minute left on the video. It's like 10 seconds. It's 10 seconds left on the video. Let me play these last 10 seconds for you, girl. Let me play
this video on epigenetics right here. Check it out.
There we go. We had to finish it for her. I know how that feels. And you're like, oh, things got to be finished for me to feel okay. So good. We complete on that. And y'all go watch this from the beginning because this was a great live. This was a really great, this is wonderful. And I'm going to enjoy the rest of my weekend. You could DM me, but I'll probably check the message on Monday. Meaningful Holistic. I think I got your number in the DM somewhere. I'm going to reach out to you. Because we do need to go ahead and get together, and a lot of us need to form like our own like little group to share information with each other about what is going on in the legal space for us healing type people. Okay, so I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Bye.